Welcome to MCN and the 2025 Aprilia RSV4 Factory. Now, before we dive into what it's like to ride around this magnificent Mugello racetrack, albeit in the wet, let's have a little look at what's new for this year. Aprilia's new RSV4 Factory 1100 costs £23,850, and for that you get a superbike with all the bells and whistles. Semi-active suspension, Brembos, forged alley wheels, lean sensitive rider aids and a howling V4 engine. For 2025, the 1099cc V4 power is boosted from 214 to 217 bhp thanks to bigger throttle bodies, new mapping and a Euro 5 Plus exhaust. That makes the RSV4 the world's most powerful production bike, ahead of Ducati's 213 bhp Panigale V4S, the 209 bhp BMW M1000RR and the 215 bhp Honda CBR 1000 RRR SP Fireblade. It gets new bodywork with MotoGP style Stegosaurus fins at the back and ribbon-like wings at the front, which Aprilia says causes less drag in a straight line and flicking from side to side. The wings, along with more powerful cooling fans, help drag hot air away from the rider, as does the new cat positioned further out of the way under the engine and a new sump shape to accommodate it. Rear stop and tail lights are now part of the indicators BMW style. It's now easier to remove them and the number plate holder for track days to give the Aprilia a racier look and less drag. The RSV4's frame stays the same, other than being painted matte black, but the rake and offset have been increased for stability and the engine lifted higher in the frame for agility. It gets new, lighter yokes and wider splayed clip-ons. Braking is now taken care of by Brembo high pure calipers, first seen on the 2025 Ducati Panigale V4. Electronics have taken a big step forward with more polished engine maps and refined rider aids, including a new slide control system and predictive anti-wheelie, which stops the front wheel leaving the tarmac before it even happens. It works using IMU and wheel speed readings, but also the rider weight, which you'll need to plug into the dash to activate. The factory also lets you set your traction, wheelie, engine brake and suspension damping control corner by corner via a computer or app, which is included in the price and a world first. New dash graphics feature 3 track layouts, and this factory version gets a pit lane limiter, launch control, as well as new backlit switchgear, cornering LED headlights and cruise control. Accessories include carbon and billet aluminium trinkets, tyre pressure sensors and an SC Project slip-on can. You can have any colour as long as it's black. Now, the first thing to ask, and something that's been on my mind for quite a few years, is where does Aprilia's appetite come from to keep producing the RSV4 and keep developing it in the way that they have with more power and new aero and better electronics? Ever since it's become an 1100, it can't race anywhere, can't race at World Championship or most domestic series, and they probably don't sell a bucket load either. So why bother? Well, I spoke to Aprilia and they basically said that producing fast superbikes with loads of technology like this is in their blood, it's in their DNA, and while they can't race anymore, and let's not forget that they've won the World Championship with Biaggi and Gintoli, that's still really important to them. And they haven't ruled out ever returning to World Superbike if the rules change. Aprilia claimed 217 brake horsepower from this engine, which is an insane amount. And it's an insane amount that you'll never ever be able to use on the road, and only the most talented will only be able to exploit on the track. Luckily, there's a helping hand in the shape of electronics. And not only is 217 brake horsepower easy to control, thanks to all the clever mapping, the refined traction control, the predictive wheelie control. It's actually good fun. Now, this is a wet track, and I was a little bit wary about taking the bike out. I mean, I know from previous experience the RSV4 is a very, very fast bike. It can be a little bit of a handful sometimes, and you know, especially this straight here, you're flat out in sixth almost, even in the wet, and then braking down to a 40-mile-an-hour turn 2 up and over a crest. So the whole thing's a little bit of your heart's in your mouth all the time. But it's really easy. It's just so friendly. And you know, when you see bikes like these on track days now, you know, the current evolution of super bikes, they've got more powerful, but they've also got friendlier and easier to ride. You'll see that they go very, very fast, and you don't need to be a Jorge Martin to get the best out of them. Between the corners here, you know, the straights between the corners aren't that big, so you're not really getting full power because the electronics are toning it down, and it's wet, so you can't use everything you've got, but you can down this straight. And when you unleash 217 brake horsepower down this straight, it's absolutely sensational. And you're riding through the pit buildings and the grandstand, and it's like a big echo chamber. And that V4 yowl is just something else. It is absolutely fantastic. Talking of electronics, are they all essential? Absolutely, on a bike like this. So what have we got? We've got the new traction control. I didn't actually see the traction control light flicker on that much when we were going around the track. Aprilia put us on Michelin racing wets. The bike comes with Pirelli Supercourses as standards, but we're here at a Michelin ride day and the tyres are Michelin. So we've got Michelin wets, which are fantastic. The bike's got a lot of mechanical grip anyway. Didn't really need to lean on the electronics, but it was really nice knowing they're there. But I guess the best thing is the predictive wheelie control. It controls a wheelie before it's even cleared for takeoff. The result of that is you can come out of a corner and the bike just accelerates flat. You can hold on to it. It takes some of the effort out of riding fast. The up and down quick shifter is just sublime, especially coming down the gears. From sixth to second, boom, 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 boom. It's like a seamless gearbox. It is incredible. It's probably one of the best things about the engine, and it's got a lot of good traits. And then you've got the different rider modes. We had it in a soft power map. Still makes full power, but it takes kind of the edge off the power. And everything in between. Pit lane limiter didn't use that. Launch control didn't use that. But in general terms, you know, the slide control, the traction control, the wheelie control, and the quick shifter, and the riding modes are really, really useful and really important on a fast bike like this. While we were in the pits with Aprilia, they showed us this new corner-by-corner setup. So the factory RSV4 comes with a GPS module fitted on the bike, and then it can map the track as it's going round. When you come back into the pits, you either open up an app or open up a computer, and you can see full telemetry on the bike from speeds to front and rear wheel speeds, gear position to throttle position to brake pressure, front and back, and everything in between. So you can get this big readout, you can see what you've been doing around the track. It will also tell you what rider aids have been working for you around the track. So in some bits of the track that you might have too much wheelie, you might have too much wheel spin, you might have too little, too much, or whatever. So you can go into that app or computer and change the rider mode to maximise the performance out of that given corner. So if you're wheeling too much, you can give it a bit more anti-wheelie at that point. If the traction control is holding you back too much, you can turn it down at that point. And you can even change the suspension damping, because this bike's got Öhlins electronic suspension. And if you're bottoming out into a corner, or if you've got too much, too little damping, you can fine tune that at every point, at every corner around the track, which is a first for a road bike. And although probably not that essential, because one setting would generally suit everywhere on the track more or less, it is a good little toy to have. And let's face it, you know, doing track days on a superbike is just good fun. It's big boys' toys. And you know, when you come back into the pits, it's always nice to look at what you've done and make little adjustments if you're interested in shaving tenths off your lap time. With the new wings Aprilia say that it's more agile side to side, still got lots of downforce, and it slips through the air more easily. Now, it's impossible to say if that's true. I've ridden Aprilias around here with wings before. Unless you rode the bike without wings, it's almost impossible to say, because wings are an integral part of the overall kind of handling package. So with regard to anti-wheelie, yes, the wings will keep the front wheel down, but also so will the electronics and so will the general setup. So all you've got to say is that they must work, because they don't put them on MotoGP bikes for fun. And the theoretical advantages of a wing is that it will pin the front wheel down under hard acceleration at high speed, and also give more stability under braking and more front grip in high speed corners. So given Aprilia's MotoGP bikes are so good when it comes to aero, you probably can't deny that they work really well on this bike. One thing that hasn't really changed from the RSV4 of previous years is how well it handles. We weren't able to push it that hard in these conditions, obviously. The track's particularly slippery. I think it's had a car race here and there's a lot of rubber down and it's wet. So, you know, we're really kind of reining it in and not going too bonkers. But it's a beautiful handling bike. It's very agile, it changes direction easily, pick an apex and just roll into it, and really, really good stability. So Aprilia have raised the whole bike up, they've kicked the trail out, they've kicked the offset out, so it's a lot more stable and just really confidence inspiring. And the good thing for me is that being a 6-footer, the RSV4 has always been very cramped, because at the end of the day it was designed for Max Biaggi to go racing, and he's a 250 size rider. So Aprilia have put new yokes on the bike for more offset, and also they've put flatter, wider bars on, and it makes all the difference when you're trying to move around the bike, and it makes it feel a little bit less cramped, although the foot pegs are still quite high for me. But if you were doing track days and you're a serious track day rider, you'd probably go down the route of aftermarket rear sets anyway. And like all big Aprilias, like the Tuono and this RSV4, the way the suspension is set is just beautiful. There are few bikes of any breed that have got such a plush, velvety ride quality, suspension that just really searches for grip, gives you complete control and complete confidence. And of course, few bikes sound as good as a Yowling V4. Now Ducati have got their V4, which sounds great too, but really it's designed to act like a big V-twin, and it sounds like it. It's a bit clattery, but in terms of pure V4 Yowling soundtrack, the Aprilia is absolutely incredible. Only kind of equaled almost maybe by Yamaha's cross-plane Crank 4. But in terms of an idyllic soundtrack, this is just amazing. Every time you get on the throttle, it just makes you smile. It's absolutely amazing. As before, there's still a base model. It costs £5,000 less. There's a lot of bike for the money. It's got the same chassis, engine, basic electronics package. The only thing it's missing is its Öhlins electronic suspension. So it's got mechanically adjustable suspension, forks, rear shock, and steering damper. It's got slightly heavier wheels. It's got cast aluminium wheels instead of forged, and it does without some of the factory's more advanced electronics, things like pit lane limiters, the track layout on the dash, that corner by corner setup. You can buy all those extras. Some are just downloadable on an app, kind of KTM style, and some you've actually got to go to a dealer to get the hardware installed. But I would say that, you know, a £5,000 saving is going to be pretty attractive to some. Comes in more of a choice of colours, comes in grey and blue instead of just black for the factory. I haven't ridden the standard one, so I can't say exactly what it's like, but going by previous experience, when you ride an electronic suspension bike and a standard suspension bike, they feel more or less identical. It's just that the standard suspension setup is generally a little bit harder, because it has to deal with kind of average of all different conditions and all different weight riders, whereas an electronic suspension bike is generally quite soft, and then it stiffens up when it needs to. So after riding this bike here at Mugello, I get the feeling the test feels a little bit incomplete, because we haven't really ridden the bike in anger, but we're going to be doing that soon, hopefully again. when we test it against its rivals. So we're going to put it up against the BMW, the Ducati and the Honda. It's always been there or thereabouts before. When you put all of these bikes on a racetrack, they're generally separated by tenths. But I think that the Aprilia, with its new tweaks, especially the electronics, that more than anything, because 217 brake horsepower is going to feel like 200. You know, you're not going to be able to use it all anyway. So I think the electronics are really going to give it a decent step, and it's better handling, although it was just amazing handling before. So I can't wait for that little shootout. But in the meantime, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. I wish it had been a little bit drier, but there you go. But if you liked it, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.